Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the DSLBD Green Book training. My name is J.B. Behrens. I'm a business development specialist here at the DC Department of Small Local Business Development. We will just hang on for a couple minutes until 12:03 just to let people log in. Good afternoon, everyone. Just as a quick note, we're going to start at 12:03, just letting everyone log in and get situated. Again, thank you for joining us today for the Green Book training provided by the team here at the DC Department of Small Local Business Development. And as people log in, thank you for joining us today. We're going to start the presentation at 12:03, just letting people log in. See, we've still got people logging in. Thank you for joining us today. Give you one more minute, and then we'll kick things off. All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, CBEs. Thank you for joining us today. It's 12:03, so we're going to get started. My name is J.B. Behrens. I'm a business development specialist here with the DC Department of Small and Local Business Development. I'm joined today by James West, who will do the presenting. James is a business development specialist as well, and very experienced on the topic. A couple of quick housekeeping notes. The slides will be presented, will be shared at the end of the presentation. The slides actually have additional tips and tricks that will hopefully be helpful to you as you continue your accessing the Green Book and building out your pipelines. We're asking that if you have questions to put them in the chat. We're going to address them at the end of the session. We will have a survey as well that we would ask each of you to complete that we will share with you at the end of the presentation. We will also share a link on how you can get additional technical assistance to sign up for that for one-on-one sessions. And April 8, we are also planning a Green Book training event at Martin Luther King Library beginning at noon. We'll share details of that resource opportunity to all of those who have registered for this event today. So we can get started. I will kick it over to James. James?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, JB. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Glad to see everybody on the call today. We have a pretty large audience for today's call, so I'm glad to see that this is something that's captivated all of CBEs. Next slide, please, JB. As JB said, my name is James West. I'm a business development specialist with the DC Department of Small and Local Business Development, specifically with the Business Opportunities Division. If you have any questions for us as a team, you can reach out to business.opportunities@dc.gov. For those of you that I do know, hello, it's good to see you. For those of you that I do not know, it's also good to see you, and hopefully we continue to engage you moving forward in your business journey, especially as a CBE. Next slide, please. So objectives of this training. So one, we want to teach you guys how to navigate the interactive digital dashboard within the Green Book. We're going to do a live demonstration, and you'll be able to follow along on your computer. We want you to be able to understand the types of products and services sought by DC government. We want you to be able to locate current and pending contracting opportunities. And then last but not least, we want you to be able to learn how to search for new planned acquisitions by agency, category, and the specific NIGP code. Next slide, please. So, what is the Green Book? The Green Book is a procurement roadmap for certified business enterprises and small business enterprises. Um, in the Green Book, you'll find a breakdown that outlines the city's annual spending targets by agency for SBEs and CBEs. And then for FY 2026, the goal is a record $1.5 billion. And the spending breakdown also provides an agency by agency breakdown of upcoming projects and contracting opportunities. The accessible resource is available as a searchable, real-time, and interactive tool, and you can find this on greenbookdc.com. Next slide, please. So why are you here? And kind of what is the value of just the CBE as a whole before we even jump into the Green Book? So a CBE will receive, once you become a CBE, you'll receive contracting preference and procurement opportunities offered by DC government. You'll have inclusion in DC public-private development projects, and you become part of DSLBD's inventory of over 2,000 active CBEs, right? So when I talk about preference, the image below kind of gives you an understanding of how your preference really works in your favor as a certified business enterprise. So agency spend. Agencies are required to spend 50% of their expendable budget with CBEs that maintain the small business enterprise category. DC supply schedule is a supply schedule that is only available to CBEs that maintain the SBE category. And then for contracts under 250,000, they are set aside for CBEs that maintain the SBE category. Basically saying any contract under 250,000 where there are eligible CBEs, they have to go to CBEs that are also SBEs. Subcontracting requirements. So on government assisted projects that are over $250,000, the agencies or the primes are required to subcontract 35% of the total contract value with CBEs that maintain the SBE category. And all of this information will be valuable to you as we start to go through the Green Book. You'll understand how this preference kind of helps you moving forward. Next slide, please. So key terms. So these are some of the terms that you want to be aware of as we move through today's presentation, as well as you start to navigate the Green Book on your own. So fiscal year is always important, right? So for each Green Book that is provided, it is provided usually somewhere through the first quarter of the fiscal year. For FY 2026, so DC government operates on a fiscal year from October 1st through September 31st, right? So this fiscal year, FY 2026, started on October 1st, 2025, and will go until September 31st, 2026. Um, JB, the slides are down. So total budget. This is the total budget that DC government is operating with. Personnel and fixed costs are not subject to SBE spending goal, basically meaning these are excluded from that part of the budget. Planned acquisitions are the upcoming contracting opportunities or the upcoming spend that agencies have planned for this upcoming fiscal year. And expenditures are exactly what they sound like. They are not SBE eligible, right? So expenditures are things that have nothing to do with products and services from these agencies. Next slide, please. Greenbook portal live tutorial. So now I'm actually going to share my screen and we're going to go look directly at the Greenbook. And we're going to kind of show you guys how to navigate the Greenbook. Well, I'm not going to try to show you. I'm going to show you how to navigate the Greenbook. So this is what the Greenbook page looks like when you first come to the Greenbook. So greenbookdc.com, you should get this as the home page. Me personally, what I'm going to show you to do today is how to find these opportunities that fall under the Greenbook specifically for your NIGP codes. So I'm going to do find opportunities. And when I come to find opportunities, you'll see they have some information up here at the top. So DSLBD is working to make data more transparent and connect SBEs to opportunities faster and more easily than ever. And as we talked about at the top of the call, so you have a goal and spend category. This is the overall goal and spend for DC government as a whole, new planned acquisitions. So this is a breakdown of the acquisitions by agency over a certain period of time, largely for this year only. Special exceptions as well. So special exceptions are approved because there were no eligible SBEs or SBEs lack capacity. So we want to make sure that CBEs that have capacity and that do meet the requirements for these contracts are aware of these opportunities. So as little special exceptions go out as possible. So where I'm going to start is with new planned acquisitions. So when you click on this new planned acquisitions tab, when you scroll all the way to the bottom, you get these three cursors for data. So you get an agency category, you get the overall category, and then you get the NIGP code, right? So for those of you who are already CBEs, and for those of you that have been CBEs for a while, you know the value of the NIGP code, but it never hurts to restate it. So your NIGP codes are service, trade, and product related codes that directly apply to your firm as well as your CBE profile. So what I want to do actually on this call, because I'm going to show you how to utilize it, is there somebody on this call who would like to volunteer their firm, who knows their codes, who knows the strengths of their code, and would like to volunteer their firm as a case study? If not, I'm going to pick a firm. So if I know you, if I've done calls with you before, and you know me personally, please feel free. Okay, dynamic leadership and coaching, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to DES briefly. I'm going to search dynamic, search. Okay, dynamic leadership and coaching. So dynamic leadership and coaching has 43 codes right here. And I'm going to just start with the first one, 9180000 for consulting services, right? So I usually search, when I search within this format, I search directly for the name of the code rather than the code itself, because sometimes these hyphens in the middle mess up the number. So what I'm going to do is wrap text so I can actually see the codes themselves. So when I search consulting, I get plenty of codes, but I believe the one that Dynamic had was this one for consulting services at the value of 15,286,327, right? So this is the NIGP code. Here goes a category description for that service, which is under professional services. And then here are the two agencies that have the largest spend for those two codes, the Public Service Commission and the University of DC. So what I'm going to do from here, and you'll find the value of this, right? I'm going to export data. I'm going to open this file up. So So I was given a file when I downloaded called planned acquisitions. And in these planned acquisitions, I can see a few things. I can see I can see the agency category. I can see a category specifically for the type of service. I see the NIGP code. I see a description of the code. I see a project title, which is likely going to be the name of the contract when it becomes available. I see the project description, and then I see the project budget as well, right? So I have some great information right here, which I can begin to use for a business development plan. So I have that for this first one. I have the agency, which is a public service commission. They're looking for professional services with this specific NIGP code for consulting services for a project called the Transactive Neighborhood Renewal Microgrid. The project description is a governance board pilot project at the value of $10 million, right? So just off of this information alone, I know a few things. I know who the agency is that will put this opportunity out when it becomes available. I know the services that they're looking for. I even have some background on that project itself. And then I have a project budget. So based on this project budget, I can tell you two things from that earlier slide that we looked at. One, this is above that $250,000 value. So this could possibly go to a CBE or it could go to a non-CBE. If it goes to a non-CBE, they have to meet the goal of procuring 35% of that work as a subcontracting spend with CBEs across the board. The same thing for this $4 million contract, the same thing for this $460,000 contract, the same thing for this $352,000 contract. So right now, if I was dynamic leadership and coaching, I would start to write this information down. And then last but not least, on this last contract, this 28,000, this must go to a CBE as it falls under that $250,000 threshold, right? So I will give me a second. I'm going to go back and I'm just going to do one more case study, right? I see that people drop some information in the chat, so I'm just going to use what I see there. Let's see. So the first one we did was consulting. The next, I see something in here for janitorial and custodial services. See something for specific NIGP code. Let's see. I'm going to start with this janitorial and custodial services. This is more for facilities management, facilities maintenance. So when I wrap text for this, I get two codes. So I get this janitorial custodial services, 9103900, and then this 9103957. As I look over, I see there are two codes, facilities maintenance. Okay, the other thing that you will have to do, right, because it is not showing me effectively that it's been removed. So I need to go back and search consulting and I need to unclick consulting because it's still going to show me the findings for consulting unless I remove it from my search. So once I remove it from my search, I see facilities maintenance right here at $72,000. And I see the three agencies that these contracts fall under: the Department of Energy and Environment, Department of Public Works, and then the University of the District of Columbia. So I can do the same thing. I'll export this data. I'm going to open the file. Can you guys see this screen? Can you guys see the spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, JB. So for this one as well, so I have the same information at the top: the agency, the category, the NIGP code, the code description, a project title for the code, a project description of what they're going to be looking for or what services they're looking for to be provided, and then a project budget as well. So when I'm looking through this information, I'm able to determine a few things. So if I was, who put that in? If I was 1919 consultants, right? I now have three opportunities that I know will be coming down the pipeline. And now I can start to do the same thing, starting my business development plan for these opportunities, right? So I have Department of Energy and Environment. I know that this contract has to go to a CBE because it falls under $250,000. I know that this contract has to go to a CBE because it also falls under $250,000. And last but not least, I know that this contract can go to a CBE because it falls under the $250,000 threshold. So as I see these opportunities, right, there are a few places that um, I should be tracking. I should be tracking within the OCP transparency portal, which we won't get to today just because this training is specifically focused on just the Green Book. But we will have trainings in the future that focus on how to utilize the OCP transparency portal. And we also do technical assistance where we talk through all of those services and those resources as well. So JB will drop the link for technical assistance once we finish this call. Um, so I'm going to come back for a second, right? And when I come here, when I come back to the Green Book, like I said, I have to make sure that I am removing the cursors where I clicked on these. And I want to do one more search just because I feel like this is leaving a little bit on the table. I want to do construction. And this is for my construction-based CBEs, right? Or my construction services CBEs, right? So as you can see, construction has about, let's see, about 8 codes that they have at the top. I can just click all of these codes, right? Just by clicking up here on this checkbox when I see the code next to it. Click here, and as you can see, the construction spend is about $3 billion. This is where a lot of these agency expenditures are going. And then you can also see what agencies are most responsible for construction related projects, right? So Department of Building has a budget of 68,000. DOES, or Department of Employment Services, has a budget of 100,000. Department of General Services has a budget of about 3 billion. Department of Transportation has a budget of about $546 million, and the Housing Finance Agency has a budget of about $20,000. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to export this data because I want to start to see what opportunities are available. And as you can see, one more check, JB, can you see the spreadsheet?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thanks, JB. So I'm going to do the same thing here. As we know, this information at the top is vital, is valuable to me. So I can see the agency, the category of work, the NIGP code that is aligned directly with the work, the description of the services, the overall project title, or what the contract will end up being named when it becomes available, the project description. So what work are they looking to be completed? And then last but not least, the project budget, right? So as we can see, the numbers here in this spin are pretty high, right? So what should I begin to do? I should begin to, one, go through these project titles and go through these project descriptions and see what services can my company provide, right? Let me start to highlight some of these. Let me start to go and look at these agencies and see what solicitations they already have available, right? So for this one, roadway sign maintenance backlog construction management. This is probably one of the smallest spends here, and it's still $700,000. So like as we know, can still go to a CBE or a non-CBE. If a non-CBE wins this contract, they still have to subcontract at least 35% of that contract value to CBEs that are SBEs, right? So that's one. This contract right here is $20,000. So I know that I could win this just with my CBE. With my CBE, SBE categories. Um, if I meet all the requirements. Same thing for this $120,000. Same thing for this $150,000. Same thing for the $75,000. So the one thing that I'll say is, even though when we were looking at the Green Book, we saw those pretty large spends, it's always good to go through directly and look for those contracts where you will be eligible to win it directly as a CBE that either fall under the $250,000 or maybe over $250,000. But I think the most valuable piece is understanding the capacity of your CBE firm, understanding the capacity of the work that needs to be completed. So that's important as well. JB, what I would like to do now is, let me see. So I see a few questions in the chat. We're going to come to you guys' questions at the end of this call. JB, if you'd like, you can put the slides back up and we can continue to go through starting back at slide number 14. The other thing that I will say is JB has done a great job putting this presentation together, and you guys will have access to all of the slides here. There are some step-by-step instructions, tips and tricks that JB has also included in the slide presentation that you guys have not seen yet, just because we wanted to make sure this format works for everybody. Um, and we're skipping to slide number 14 because we understand that this is something that a lot of CBEs have their eyes on, right? Eyes on the prize when it comes to RFK. So if I was to go back to the Green Book, the physical Green Book, the Green Book PDF, on pages 144 through 146, there's some information about what solicitations will come out for RFK Stadium, right? So as we know, RFK is the largest private investment in DC history. Commanders are investing $2.7 billion to build a state-of-the-art roof stadium at the RFK campus. The $3.7 billion campus development project represents a generational opportunity for our local businesses to access contract and procurement opportunities. So on this page, I believe this is page 144 in the Green Book, you have some information about what opportunities will begin becoming available. How do those spends break down over time? Right? So there is $500 million for stadium horizontal construction, $175 million for parking development, so parking construction, parking facility along with the stadium, $202 million for RFK campus infrastructure, $2.7 billion for stadium vertical construction, and then $89 million for district sportsplex. Right now, all of these large spends obviously will break down into smaller contracts, and I want to show you guys what some of those contracts look like, right? Or what some of those opportunities look like. Next slide, please. So here's a budget snapshot of kind of the spend breakdown for the opportunities that we know will be coming out in FY 2026. So this current total budget allocated to the RFK development. This is the current total budget allocated to RFK development as of February 2026. It represents planned and active investments across multiple projects and phases, and provides a snapshot where CBEs will be able to find contracting opportunities. So the budget doesn't reflect the actual CBE spend data. It highlights the project areas and procurements anticipated to generate CBE opportunities as solicitations are released. So the first one is the RFK PMO. It's $30.8 million. That falls under just this entire line of work. I believe the first contract already was released. It was the owner's representative services for $400,000. There will be a campus energy master plan contract released for $200,000. A battery storage assessment solicitation released for $75,000. A sportsplex programming study solicitation released for $150,000. Design and construction for roads and utilities released for $15 million. And then stormwater relocation, I believe, was also released for $15 million. So that is just the first line of work or stream of work under RFK, which is the RFK PMO, and PMO stands for the Project Management Office. For DGS, there's a $100,000 solicitation that was released for RFK Sportsplex Design Build Services. For the Office of Planning, there will be a solicitation released for Urban Planning Consulting under Gensler. And then last but not least, WMATA will be releasing a $2 million contract or solicitation for a metro study. So all the way at the bottom in this green timeline, you see a little bit more about when these opportunities will actually be released. So in Q2 FY 2026, the owner's rep services, that contract has already came out and it's actually available on our rfk.dc.gov website. The battery storage assessment contract is set to come out as well in Q2 FY 2026. As far as for Q3 FY 2026, the Campus Energy Master Plan solicitation is planned to be released, as well as the Urban Planning Consulting solicitation is planning to be released. And then awarded by March 2026 will be the RFK Sportsplex Construction Management Contract. These are our preliminary dates as of right now, but we believe that this timeline is as effective and accurate as possible. And last but not least is the awarded by August 2026 for the RFK Sportsplex Design Build Services. So the total project value shown does not represent CBE spend to date. And I just want to make sure you guys know that, as all of these solicitations have not yet been released to the public. These are just the planning timeline for these solicitations. Um, our team will obviously be making sure that we are as engaged with these topics as possible, and also make sure CBEs are as engaged with these topics as possible. The one place that we want to make sure that you guys are aware of is this website, the ourrfk.dc.gov. I'm actually going to drop the link to that page in this chat. Some of these solicitations will go there, and we're hoping to make it an effort across DC government to utilize that. Um, so next slide, please, JB. I know we talked about a lot just in this first 30 minutes. I tried to be thorough as well as very on point with getting you exactly what you came here for, which is how to utilize and navigate the Green Book. We do see that a lot of you guys still have questions in the chat, so I'm going to address some of those questions, try to answer some of those questions. But for those questions that I cannot get to, we also offer, through the Business Opportunities Division, one-on-one technical assistance. As of right now, myself and my manager, Keith Howard, are the two people who are providing technical assistance. So what we would like to do is make sure that your firms, one, if you would like to meet one-on-one, you have the ability to do so. And if you would like to book time with us just to meet, whether it be in person, we also have small businesses at the library. And that is just on the fourth Wednesday of every month. So that link will be coming out via email as well. Next slide, please. So we have some questions and contact info. So this is open info questions as well as contact info if you need a point of contact or you need to reach out to somebody within DSLBD. So our agency website is dslbd.dc.gov. Our agency phone number is 202-727-3900. Our CBE questions are cbe.info@dc.gov, and that's specifically regarding CBE certification questions, business opportunities, business resources, anything regarding the Green Book, OCP Transparency Portal. When it comes to learning how to navigate it, learning how to use it, is business opportunities, as well as JB, who is leading this training today, will be leading a lot of the trainings moving forward. And if you have any questions about federal opportunities, we also have the DC Apex Accelerator. Their email address is dslbd.apex@dc.gov. And last but not least is the Small Business Book with an Advisor link. And I believe JB is going to drop that in the chat, as well as send an email to everybody regarding upcoming trainings and scheduling technical assistance. And then last but not least, our sister agency, the Office of Contract and Procurement Ombudsman, for any fair, impartial, confidential voice, for a fair, impartial, confidential voice for contractors and subcontractors, please feel free to reach out to ocp.ombudsman@dc.gov or to 202-724-4197. So I believe that's the end of the presentation for today. I want to say thank you guys, and now we're going to open up the chat for a few Q&A questions. We have about
James,
27.
if I could just quick comment. So I put in the chat the link for the one-on-one technical assistance. So you can, if you scroll up, it's there. You can click through to that link and schedule that information. And then James also put the link for the RFK related material. And then I also included again, and just to repeat, you'll all get copies of the slides, which also have all of these links as well. But keep our email in mind. You may think of questions at the end of this event, and don't worry, just business.opportunities@dc.com, at dc.gov. Great. So I'll let you tackle the questions, James.
Thank you. Um, So we have a few questions in the chat. I'm going to start with the top. So I believe Keith Howard, manager of the Business Opportunities Division, is also on this call. So I may pull him in for a couple questions. Um, the first question that I see is, if a GC is a CBE, do they still need to meet the 35% subcontractors limit? Um, Keith, do you have any feedback on that question or any response to that question?
Can you repeat it again?
The questioner was, if a GC, if a general contractor is a CBE, do they still need to meet the 35% subcontracting spend?
I would recommend to that individual they put that in writing with a little more specifics. Like, do they have a certain project that they're working on, et cetera, et cetera. I would send it to the info@dc.gov. And you can feel free to copy me on it. Keith.Howard, the number 3 at dc.gov. So I just make sure that you got your proper answer.
Right. One person said it doesn't appear that our NIGP codes are included in the NIGP list. So how will we, as a pavement marking business, find opportunities? Um, I guess to Tawana Butler or Tajana Butler, I want to make sure I'm saying your name correctly. My question would be, what code specifically are you looking for? And then when you say as a pavement marking business, is that the only service that your firm provides? Because if so, I would, if not, if that's not the case, if that's not the only service that your firm provides, I would, one, make sure you have all of the appropriate NIGP codes that fits with the services, trades, and products that your firm provides. And then two, if you don't see any opportunities there, remember the Green Book is just a forecast of upcoming opportunities, but it's not the end all be all for all contracts that are available. If you would like to find some time to talk directly about, one-on-one contracts and how to find those contracts, you can use the link that JB sent, one-on-one technical assistance for the Business Opportunities Division, and either book time with Keith or myself, and we can show you exactly where to go to find contracts specific to your firm. The next question I see in the chat is from Tiffany Thomas. She said, do you have to be on the DC supply schedule in order to get one of these contracts? The answer to that is no. And the reason I say no, but right. So no, you don't have to be on the DC supply schedule to get access to contracts in the Green Book. As long as you are CBE, you'll have access to all of the contracts that come out through DC government. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that your firm fits with the needs of the contract, that you have the capacity to complete the contract. But when it comes to actually seeing and being able to submit a proposal, you'll be able to see all of the contracts that are available. Um, Now, when it comes to DC supply schedule, there are contracts that are DC supply schedule specific, right? They will usually come out from the transparency portal and they'll say DCSS only, meaning people who are on the DC supply schedule are the only people that can respond to those specific solicitations. Same thing. If you would like to one, determine what are those contracts, what are those DCSS only contracts, or how to find those contracts that are not DCSS only, I would advise that you book a one-on-one technical assistance with the Business Opportunities Division, just so you can have a little bit more hands-on explanation. One more question. The next question I see is, are we able to meet one-on-one with somebody at DSLBD to ask specific questions about my business? Karen, yes. We would love for you to do that. You can use the link that JB put in the chat for one-on-one technical assistance. The next question that I see is from Tiffany Thomas. When does the date information become available for these contracts? There is no guarantee that these contracts actually come up for bid, correct? The one thing that I will say, the date is never strictly provided through the Green Book. But if you go to the OCP transparency portal, or even if you look in the Green Book in certain places, they may have a quarter that something is supposed to come out, or they may have a preliminary understanding of like, hey, this is coming out Q2, Q3, Q4. Sometimes contracts do not come out in those quarters. So I guess the answer to both to your second question is no, they do not always come up for bid. And the answer to your first question is it's usually posted in the OCP transparency folder.
James, let me jump in right. James, let me jump in there right real quick.
Yeah.
Just back on the one thing about here's the beauty of the new improved green book. So back in the day, which wasn't that long ago, and good afternoon, everybody. Keith Howard, sorry about that. Back in the day, when you would get your printed copy of the green book, it was a very static version. So what you saw the day you got it is what it was. But now by doing it more with the green book live online, that changes. And that's why you've got to use it regularly. It should be a regular tool. So something that's forecasted today may or may not be there next week, but something that's not there today, it may be added, right? So the Green Book now to me is a way more powerful resource tool. And so I'm going to always promote. If you meet me out, I'm going to say, are you using the Green Book? So if your answer is no, I'm gonna look at you funny because this helps you. It what it does is it kills all the time of running around and sending emails and just it makes it so that you all can save time and get money, right? So I just want to make sure I threw that part in there. Next question.
Great feedback, Keith. Yeah, and what Keith said, I think is exactly right, right? It used to be static, it's no longer static. So you should be checking this on a if I was a business development specialist at a firm or a CBE, or if I was the business operations person and I just wanted to know what opportunities were out there or what opportunities will be coming out in the upcoming year, I would be checking monthly almost, if not weekly, if I had the time to, right? So that's just the way you should think about the Green Book. The next question I see is, good afternoon, James. Where does information technology fall in? So information technology falls in all across. Information technology falls in across all of this. And you would just need to search directly by your NIGP codes to make sure that your codes fall, that when you search your codes, they will pop up directly in the Green Book. So the same search that I did on the call is the same search that you would do, right? You would go into your CBE profile, you would pull your NIGP codes, you would either search by the NIGP code or the NIGP code description. And when you click on the button, the cursor that has the green box, it will show you again exactly what codes and opportunities are available under your service areas. The next question I see is there any other site besides contracts.ocp.dc.gov to find open or pending contracts? So that is a great question, and I believe it's a twofold question. So if there are other contracts or pending opportunities, the one place that you would always start with is ocp.dc.gov, contracts.ocp.dc.gov, which would start you at the transparency portal. Once you get to the transparency portal, there are about 7 tabs at the top. So the place that I usually go when I'm on the transparency portal, when I'm just looking for what is currently available, is the solicitations tab. Those are all active and available solicitations that you can then respond to. And then the other place is the independent agencies tab. So there are agencies that do not fall under the guidance of OCP. So they are independent agencies, meaning they maintain their own budget, they manage their own contracts. So for example, an agency that falls under that independent agency is DGS, Department of General Services. When you go through Department of General Services, you'll see that they have an active solicitations tab that has all of their upcoming opportunities. I believe you have to sign up for their OpenGov procurement site to make sure that you see all of those opportunities. I believe it's the same for DDOT, and I believe it's the same for Office of the Chief Financial Officer, so OCFO. So the thing that you want to be aware of, and the question came from Tiffany Thomas, I think this was a great question, is that Ariba and PASS are for those opportunities that are managed by OCP, and then agencies that are independent often manage their own contracts. The next question that I see is from Brandon Duff. How can we look at information surrounding previous awards of this year's upcoming solicitations if they are continuing from previous years from the Green Book? That question one is a little bit loaded. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit myself, Brandon. I think I understand what you're saying. How can we look at information surrounding previous awards of this year's upcoming solicitations? That's the first half of the question, right? So if you are looking for a solicitation maybe that has come out in prior years, or that's like constantly awarded, the same thing that you want to do the same thing. You want to go to the OCP transparency portal, which is at contracts.ocp.dc.gov. You want to go to contracts, right? And contracts and solicitations are two different tabs. So the contracts tab is actually for those opportunities that have already been awarded, whereas the solicitations tab are for those opportunities that will be awarded in the near future. So when you go under the contracts tab, if you already know the name of the contract, if you know the name of the firm that won the contract, you'll be able to search there through their query or their fields, and the contracts would pop up. It'll usually pop up with the contracting officer's name, the amount of the contract that was won in the past, as well as the name of the firm, as well as the length of the contract. So you'll be able to see everything about past contracts that are coming out, or past contracts that have went out. And then the second the second part of your question was if they are continuing from previous years of the green. So usually, if a contract say came out in FY 2025, and it was released in Q3 of FY 2025, right? But it's a contract that is recurring. Usually, if you find it in the Green Book in FY 2026, the same thing will happen. It will be released again through the OCP transparency portal, unless it is controlled by an independent agency. So, Brandon, I want to make sure that that is what you were asking. And I believe that that is the most thorough answer to your question. But if you do have further questions, I would do the same thing, book one-on-one technical assistance, and we can delve even deeper into the question that you have. The next question that I see is, will you be sharing a video of this on PowerPoint? Yes, I believe JB plans to share the PowerPoint with everybody that registered for today's conversation. As I said, JB did a great job with getting a lot of the valuable and valuable information about the Green Book into that presentation. So you want to make sure that you're looking at every slide. You want to make sure that if you do still have questions after you look at the slide, that you're booking technical assistance time, or at least that you're showing up for the next presentation, right? Or the next training that JB will be hosting, as there will be vital and valuable information from training to training. We want to make sure that we're servicing and serving the CBE community to our fullest extent. There's a question. Is there ways to set up alerts for when an RFP, etc., is released that falls under a Green Book item that we identify? Wow, that's a great question. What I will say is, as of right now, I have not seen the ability to set up alerts for an RFP, right? But the one thing that I would do is, if there is a something in the Green Book that you've identified, right? And maybe the agency is also governed by OCP, or their contracts fall under OCP, you can go to the OCP transparency portal and start to look to see, have they already posted the posted the contract in the forecasted area, right? Because if it's already in the forecasted area, that lets you know that not only is it a forecasted opportunity, but that it will be coming out in the future. So the answer to that question is no, that does not exist as of right now, a way to set up alerts. But if you would like to do something manually that will help you, I think the OCP transparency portal, the forecast tab is the best place for you to go to just find out when this work will be eventually released. And then also within that forecast, there's usually a contracting officer, contract administrator that you could also reach out to directly if you had questions about it. Another question from Brandon. Is there a way to see
Hey,
which
James,
solicitation? Yep.
James, let me jump in on that one real quick. So James is absolutely right on his answer. And he's also doing his job by holding off on telling y'all that pretty soon through technology, this is why we're going to have some upcoming NIGP code classes for you all. You want to get more codes, and here's why. Because what we're working on, and it's going to be very soon, what we're working on is If there's a solicitation that goes into the OCP transparency portal and you have that NIGP code, you will be alerted, right? So we're working on that. I feel like that's going to happen very soon here before the weather gets really hot. So springtime, I believe. So continue to look for updates about that. And you can clearly see that we don't want to get too far ahead because we want to let the technology work. We're running tests right now to make sure that it works, to include RFK solicitations to make sure they're included. So that's why you'll start to see some NIGP code trainings, because it's going to be more important now than ever that you have more codes. So just want to just put that out there. Go ahead, James.
Thanks, Keith. Yep, and yeah, Keith was exactly right. I didn't want to get ahead of my skis and provide that answer until that information was set to go out to all of UCBs. But yeah, you should be on the lookout for those updates. Next question is, how do you get on the supply schedule? So the supply schedule itself has an application that you have to apply for. There is that application is controlled by the Offices of Contracting and Procurement. I see a couple questions about the supply schedule. So what I'm going to do is actually drop the link to the supply schedule page, the DC supply schedule page. And Keith, who was on this call, and JB will be in the very near future, are always on the general vendor workshop calls, which is a call that you have to do prior to the supply schedule, as well as a mandatory pre-application workshop that you have to do prior to the supply schedule, or that you have to do prior to starting the supply schedule application. So I just dropped a link to the web page that has all of that information on it. But essentially, once you take those classes, you simply apply to be on the supply schedule, and the award process starts from there. I cannot tell you how long until you are awarded from when you complete your application, but that is the information on how do you get on the supply schedule.
And just for clarity, the Green Book is a DSLBD resource and tool. The DC supply schedule is an OCP resource and tool. So while we use it, and we kind of will use it when we're doing technical assistance with you all, if you want to get in the weeds, you really got to go with OCP on that.
Thank you. The next question I see is, good afternoon. Does DSLBD maintain a directory or provide a facilitated or direct method for certified CBEs to connect with prime contractors holding contracts subject to the 35% subcontracting requirement? Man, that's another great question. It's also a question that has multiple answers to it. So Keith, on the first half of the question, I think that's more so the process around how do CBEs connect with primes that are looking for subs? And then I can talk about the process that we do on behalf of the primes.
Yeah, there's so many ways you could connect with primes. First, I would recommend you book technical assistance, and it's not a shameless commercial, but we could really dive into your specific business and your growth and your needs that way. So I would do that first. If you did it with me, one of the things I'm going to do is use the contracts tab of the OCP transparency portal and try and find primes that way, primes that are already winning. That's one thing I would do. The second thing I would do is, you all are all business people, entrepreneurs. I'm sure you know primes, non-CBEs in different states, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, wherever it is, who don't know about the CBE program, and that they can bid as long as it's over 250,000, they could bid now. So who better to prime sub with than someone you already know, right? So there's so many ways you could do it. Whomever asked that question, I hope you reach out to us, book some time so we can, specifically talk about your business and how you would do it.
Yep. And I'm just doubling down on what Keith said earlier about NIGP codes. So there is a process sometimes where primes reach out to us. Primes will say, hey, I'm looking for CBEs to sub my workout to. We then do a search directly through DES for people with the appropriate codes and services. And then we provide that list. Sometimes we provide the list. Sometimes we organize a info session so you guys can learn about these opportunities. But I think the most important thing when it comes to subbing on a larger contract is making sure that your firm has the appropriate NIGP codes so that you do not get excluded from the opportunity. But that is a great question, Justin, and I would definitely tell you to reserve some time for a one-on-one technical assistance to talk in more depth about that question. Let's see. If you were on the supply schedule, but your contract expired a while ago, what's the way of getting back onto the DCSS? I would simply just reapply using that link that I provided as well. I think you will have to do the pre-application workshop again, but then once you do the pre-application workshop, you should be set to do the application again. We have about 5 more minutes. I think I'm going to take 2 more questions. Let JB tell you guys about the upcoming survey, and then I think we're going to close after that. Let's see. Good afternoon. Lex, thanks for this question. I am going to send this over to Keith. The one thing that I'll say is that is great. That is great that your firm has done that. I'm going to send it to Keith directly. I won't ask the question in public just because it's proprietary service. How do you contact the purchasing person from the agency that forecasts specific spending? I find that is a challenge to identify how to follow up on forecasted spending, or do you just wait until the RFP is posted? Peggy, that's a great question. If I was you and I was a CBE and I was going through the OCP transparency portal looking for a point of contact, there are 2 places that you could go. You could either go to past contracts from that same agency, right, with the similar services and the similar products, or the similar trades, right? And then you could reach out to either the contract administrator on that project or the contract specialist on that project. Their phone number and email is often listed in both the solicitation, but also directly in the link that is provided on the OCP transparency portal. That would be my number one way for going about reaching out to the specific agency that forecasts an upcoming opportunity. Let's see. Can we update our NIGP codes manually, or do we need to submit a request? Yes, you do need to submit a change request within the district enterprise system on the user-facing side, the same place that you went to submit your CBE application. It looks to be that is the last question. How do we add NIGP codes? So the same thing that I just told Angela, Erica, you need to go into the DES, the District Enterprise System, and you need to submit a change request to add additional codes. There will be some requirements around certain codes, but that is the way that you want to go about starting that process. You want to log into the DES and you want to submit a change request for NIGP codes. It is 12:58. I want to give the floor back to JB for a second, just so he can talk about the survey. To look up NIGP codes, yes, it was DES, Joshua. It's the public facing side. I'm actually going to drop the link in there so you guys can see that as well. And then I'm going to hand the floor back over to JB.
Thank you, James. And thank you all for joining us today. I just dropped, before you log off, please click the link, the survey link that's in the chat. It's important for us to kind of understand your feedback and what we're doing well, what we can do better. And so please, it's, I think, just 4 or 5 questions, so it won't take you long. Again, we will share a copy of the slide deck as well as a link to the recording so that you can refer to this after. You may have, after this session, you may come up with additional questions. Don't worry, email us. And again, we've put our email several times in the chat. Email us those questions and we will get back to you with a response. James, wonderful job. Thank you again for presenting today. And thank you, CBEs, for joining us today. We really appreciate what you do. So, Keith, as well, for coming
JB,
in.
I just had one thing, JB, kind of, and I'll close us out. So one is
Yeah.
this. First of all, he's right. Thanks to all of you guys, right? We had almost 300 people register for this, which shows the interest. So, but what I want to tell you all is you all are showing up, right? You're showing up not just for the RFK events, but you're showing up for all of our training. That's y'all's thank you to us is when you show up. So keep doing that. We appreciate it. I do want to say this, though. One observation we've made that I want to give you guys feedback and need your help is when you are out and about at some of these events, please tell folks that you're a CBE. A lot of times, whether it's could be our director who you're getting introduced to or another agency person, and they walk away not knowing whether you were a direct or whether or not you were a CBE. So I know in technical assistance, we always encourage you all put the logo on your capability statement, but talk up being a CBE, especially now in this climate, right? Where it's preference for you all in spending. So you want to do that in your intros. If you don't have the logo, get it, et cetera, et cetera. And also, your website, make sure you've got updated contact information. If you're a construction firm, make sure your bonding is updated. All of the surveys that we're asking you all to do is for a reason, right? Take 30 seconds, update it. Lastly, I'll close with this. Our team's just great. Just JB's relatively new to our team. It takes a lot of work to pull this together, but we don't stop at training. And I know a trained entrepreneur is lethal, right? So JB, great job. That technical assistance, James is killing that. You guys can see he's very knowledgeable and doing an outstanding job. Many of you come to our events. Keep coming. We nail the events every time. And lastly, we got 2 grants out there right now. So if you don't know about those, go to the DSLB website. So at the end of the day, the priority is taking care of you guys. You guys are winning, we're winning, right? And so our team's winning right now because a lot of you are winning, and we want to keep that going, especially with this historic spin that's right on the horizon. So thank you guys for coming out. Keep coming out, and we will see you down the road.